Hello everyone, welcome back to another awesome video on Magpie's Nest Productions. Man, that was way over the top. Okay.
That's okay, because it's Magpie's Nest Productions.
Yes.
It's also fitting for the subject matter.
Yes. As you can hear, I've got two wonderful guests, the ever so awesome Superhero Enthusiast, who did the brilliant artwork that you are seeing on the screen. Well, not the picture, or not the picture itself, but just the nice display that you're seeing on this. Because if I could, I would do this commentary throughout and show the movie itself. But unfortunately, the copyright police would come charging through my door. And I want to...
They've got hammers and sickles, and it's terrible.
Yeah. And, of course, the wonderful Steve Baxi, thank you for coming and joining us for this first time. And he's going to be doing a review of this movie on his channel. So as soon as that's up, I'll put the link in the description below so you can see that.
Don't wait up, because that's not coming out until April 3rd.
Okay. Yeah,
it's actually mostly done. I just am not uploading it until then.
Well, probably by then we'll have the next commentary up. But you'll have to stay tuned until the end of this commentary to hear what that next commentary will be. Because I'm going to be mean like that.
What do you mean mean? This is going to be fun. You're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, you got to go through the fun first, too.
Since we're just starting, I vote that our next commentary, we all go to empty theaters and just talk about the Winter Soldier as it's playing.
Yeah, and
that's actually a lot easier than it sounds.
Depends what theater you're in.
Exactly, but once you find it, it's not that hard.
I'm going to be the one that's not going to be able to talk about comics throughout this, because I haven't read any Captain America comics, but what limited knowledge I have of Captain America is from this movie and Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So unfortunately, you won't hear anything of that from me this time. But eventually, I plan on grabbing some Captain America comics. And guess what, guys? That will be a distinct possibility, because yesterday, I did go to a comic book shop and I did organize my own pull list through them. And that's, of course, through the wonderful people at King's Comics, who do not sponsor this show, so they in no way endorse anything that Magpie's Nest Production does. Okay, I covered my ass there really well. And, of course, they are in no way affiliated with King 1919, whatever the number is.
I think it was 12, but I don't remember.
Okay, guys, so quick stories about when you saw this movie, starting off, of course, with Steve, the new guy. That's
an of course situation?
Yes, it's an of course situation.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. Okay, So, after Batman, I've always really loved Captain America, so I was really excited about this movie. I saw it opening weekend. I think it was opening weekend, at least. And at that time, I was kind of high off of Ed Brubaker's Captain America run. So I went into this with just, like, really high expectations, and I have to admit it didn't disappoint. It's funny, because I've seen it at least half a dozen times at this point, and I feel like it never goes down in quality.
That's good. That's a mark of a good film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a dramatic story about it. I'll have a dramatic story about Winter Soldier, just wait.
Yeah. Of course, Superhero Enthusiast goes next, because I'm the host and I get to go last.
I saw this... actually, not until it came out on DVD. I live in a small town. The nearest theater's like half an hour away, and they don't always get things very quickly. And I guess I just missed the window for it. But
I can relate.
Obviously, I live in Canada, so like Captain America isn't exactly big here. So, yeah, I know I wasn't really super excited to go see it in the theater anyway, but when I did watch it was very, very good, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not biased against Captain America just because he's from a different country or anything, but he was never a character who I was too exposed to growing up. But since through this movie, through Avengers, through Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like Magpie mentioned, I've gotten to know the character, and I quite like him.
Well, I have a very similar story to Superhero Enthusiast. I did not see this at the theaters. I just thought it was going to scream American patriotism, which I don't always like. Sorry, Steve. I know you're the only American in here, but it's a fact.
Patriotism is in no way affiliated with what we're doing here today.
And of course, being from the great land of Australia, and I wasn't too familiar with Captain America. I'd heard about him. I didn't know much about him apart from he ran around with a shield and wore the colours of the flag on him, so wasn't too keen. But then I saw some trailers, heard some good things about the movie, decided to go pick it up, and I've actually bought it on DVD. And watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. And Hugo Weaving's in it, and I just love everything he's in. So, and that's my little story. I think we should get started now.
I'm sure we've given people enough time to queue up their Blu-ray, DVD, Ultraviolet, whatever.
Pirating website.
Yeah.
Yeah. Magpie's Productions in no way endorses pirating. If you do so, you are a criminal and should be caught and prosecuted, and then released promptly thereafter. Anyway, so get past the menu and everything. I'm probably going to be pausing a lot because, well, every time I play this through my computer, I somehow get ahead of my American and Canadian friends, so I will let everyone know when I'm pausing and everything, so if you're watching in Australian on PAL conversion, you can do that along with me. Okay, so you all set, guys?
Yep.
Ready?
Okay, press play in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, this is Paramount.
Yeah, we don't get to see the wonderful Warner's logo this time.
True. Their lovely studio lot in California. We do get to see a mountain, and mountains are pretty badass.
Yeah.
So when are they going to stop with the Paramount logos?
That's a good question. Because
I thought
Iron
it was
Man 3 had one.
I think Thor: The Dark World had one. Did it not?
I don't remember.
I only saw it once in theaters, so I don't know. But I feel like
that's the old Marvel Studios logo.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, they have the sexy new one now.
I love the new one. The new one's fantastic.
It is good.
It's really
this
nice.
This is an interesting start. I didn't think this would happen.
Oh, you mean the future setup thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was a really smart idea. Because essentially you've got a main story being framed by setting up a new story. So you can always expand on this universe, but it's not a cliffhanger ending because you're still getting a complete piece. And if there's two things in every Captain America story, it's always Future Shock and World War II, and they kind of balance that perfectly with this.
Mm.
I do like...
Sorry, go ahead, Magpie.
I do like that that a lot of... I don't know where I was going now. I think
I'm sorry. I'll say what I had to say. Captain America's kind of interesting in that he, because of this whole being frozen thing, he can still be rooted in World War II. Whereas, like, with Iron Man, they had to kind of update what war, his backstory was tied to. With Afghanistan now instead of Vietnam. And I always thought that was kind of interesting, and So maybe a little bit frightening that, you know, America is in wars frequently enough for them to be able to do that with characters.
How does this not cut through the bottom of the shit? It cuts through the top layer, but it doesn't cut through the bottom layer.
Shield engineering, man.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's lasers.
Who doesn't love lasers?
True. Lasers do make everything cooler.
Don't they?
It's inarguable.
Yeah, don't tell Blue Dragonfly that he hates lasers.
What?
It depends on what context the lasers are in. So, something about this scene that bugs me is that the guy staring at the shield doesn't know what it is.
That's a little bit bizarre. Given that he was...
How do you not know? They had war films, he was the biggest propaganda piece for a couple of years. Like, how does he not know what it is?
And you would think to get a job with, like, S.H.I.E.L.D., he would have to have, like, a BA in, like, poli-sci or something.
Yeah,
so, like, he would be knowledgeable about history.
Isn't it Iron Man's dad or whoever founded S.H.I.E.L.D. anyway? So wouldn't he... The guy that essentially created Iron Man, or one of the guys.
Well, yeah, like, this is the eponymous S.H.I.E.L.D., sort of.
Oh, I had a thought and then I just lost it. Dang.
Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say now. I like that this is based entirely in World War II, this movie, pretty much, so.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You know what, though I'm going to say, I think we could have had a Captain America whole trilogy based in World War II.
I would agree, but obviously they wanted to get to Avengers. So.
That's true.
Yeah, that's just an excuse.
One of my biggest criticisms of this movie, though, is how the middle of it just seems like a giant montage, and how they skip over some stuff. So there's still, I guess, though, potential to explore things that they didn't explore in this movie if somebody hypothetically wanted to go back and fill in some gaps.
Yeah, I guess the two major things would be the Howling Commandos and the Invaders, because they could always toss them in there at some point.
Mm-hmm. Because, well, I guess the Howling Commandos are, like, in this, but it's more like a glorified cameo.
The only reason that anyone knows that they're the Howling Commandos is that the actors look like the Howling Commandos. They have absolutely no character whatsoever.
Yeah.
Although the guy who plays Dum Dum Dugan is actually really good.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Neil McDonough.
I don't... Oh, is that his name?
I think so.
Okay.
British people make awesome German people.
So, do you guys think with the way technology evolves so quickly that it's going to get to a point where Captain America being sent from World War II to the future is going to be really, really jarring and he might go insane? Because it gets less and less viable that he's able to assimilate so quickly as the time goes on.
That's a good point.
Because, I mean, I guess Captain America, like you said before, is a character that you can never really take out of the World War II roads, because that's really a major influence on his character and his personality and what he stands for. But how is he going to be able to continually stay in World War II, like, say, 50 years from now?
I don't know, like, the jump to the 2000s has got to be extremely jarring as it is.
Yeah, I guess according to the current stuff, he's been in the future for like 12 years, something like that. So he's had time to assimilate, but he still kind of has PTSD. I don't know how they're going to handle that decades from now.
It's a good question.
Either. Probably just paste over it.
I've kind of had similar thoughts about Iron Man in a way of like, we are on the brink of actual Iron Man armor. What happens when we actually invent that? Like, is he not going to be viable as a superhero anymore?
They'll just put new toys on it, so it's even more awesome than anything else, I gather.
I guess the argument for Iron Man is that he can always be unrealistically awesome. Like, he can go in space at this point and just live there in a suit.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah, but you also make another good point. It's going to be... It's weird with Iron Man, because it seems like every time he updates himself, his villains update himself, so he's never as powerful as he should be. It's going to be really strange when normal people have Iron Man, so Iron Man has to be doubly awesome.
Well, that's my point, is like, when that becomes sort of like an everyday thing, like, are we going to even be wowed by that?
That would make a really good, like, ends story where it's the future and everybody has Iron Man armor and Tony feels kind of abandoned.
Yeah, that would. Like, it's just an everyday consumer product that Stark Industries makes, so he's
or maybe
not
not
special
even like
anymore.
Or maybe not even like Stark Industries. Like, maybe he's just kind of doing his armor, but everyone else is kind of caught up to him.
Yeah, that could be.
Because you figure they would.
Yeah, competition in the marketplace. I do gotta say, I like all this crazy hyper-Nazi stuff and the harkening back to the Norse mythology. Because, I mean, that was real. Like, guys like Himmler were nuts for that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny how, like, Hydra are like, even more Nazis.
They're the extreme Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
I so want a Hydra in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. already.
Oh, I want anything in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point.
Yeah, I guess, spoiler, we sort of had that. I think it's a Kree, but I don't know.
I thought it was a Kree, but I'm not positive either. It looks like a Kree.
Goddamn blue people from space.
They might even set up Captain Marvel that way, because she might be in Avengers too.
I hope so. The visual effects work here, holy crap. Like, It looks so good.
Yeah.
You talking about Steve Rogers?
Yeah, because they just pasted his face on somebody else's body.
Oh, you know how they how they got Chris Evans to maintain eye contact at that level?
How?
What they would do is, because they just kind of shrunk Chris Evans down for a number of shots, so every actor would have like these little red dots on Chris Evans' shirts that they would stare at during scenes and filming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's part of why they sell it, because every actor usually, either if they're not looking at him, and if they are, they're always on eye contact and eye level.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a double for him very often. They had a double for him every now and then when he's walking. But like, you know that scene in the boot camp where he's training and he's struggling to do push-ups? They actually had the really big, beefy Chris Evans struggle doing push-ups while filming that. So if you go back and look at like the unedited version, it's hilarious. He's got like stitched in his arms and he's struggling doing push-ups.
I will say that's sort of one of my criticisms of this movie, actually, is the physique that they crafted for him. Because it's like I understand the limitations for actors to get in shape for a role, and that requires doing certain types of exercise to get them to bulk up much faster. But the kind of body that they crafted for him is more like what is the ideal today, and not what the ideal was in the 1940s. So he looks kind of out of place once he gets big.
Well, I mean, I guess he's supposed to, because he is kind of the peak physical perfection.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just what the ideal and their vision of peak was back then was different than ours.
How would you put it then if it was?
Well, people did much more standing presses back then, which meant they had far bigger shoulders and far smaller chests. But now everybody's obsessed with like bench presses and stuff.
Sure.
So chest is bigger. But
well,
here's Bucky.
I guess. Oh yeah. I'm not crazy about the actor, but he gets better.
I hope he's good in the next one.
I had my doubts, but after I saw him,
what makes you think he's going to be in the next one?
I feel bad for any of the one in the general audience, because if you look up like the synopsis of the movie, like even on a movie website or on Wikipedia, it will tell you that it's Bucky.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Okay, I just got to mention something to all the Whovians watching. Jenna Louise Coleman's just come on, who's the Doctor's current companion. So.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I had no idea she was in this until you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is her. Oh.
I guess we got the original Human Torch there.
We do. I wish he was actually in the movie.
That would have been cool.
That would have been right.
Steve, how do you feel about making Bucky his best friend rather than his, like, kid sidekick?
You know, I think it makes just a little bit more sense. in all honesty. Because a big thing in the comics with Captain America and Bucky, especially when Bucky comes back as the Winter Soldier, is that no one on the current time zone understands who Steve really is. And one of the last moments he had with Bucky is where Bucky says that if I wasn't around, no one would get you. So it was weird because Bucky was always introduced at, like where Steve already became Captain America and he just meets Bucky and they just kind of bond. But with them as best friends, that relationship just makes a whole lot more sense. Like I could buy him being so much in denial about it with him as the Winter Soldier now that they're best friends. I'm just not crazy about the fact that Bucky is almost cooler than him.
Yeah, I think that if any complaint, would really fly, would be that one. I do like how we see like the origin of the flying car here. That's pretty cool. And it's interesting to see how Tony's dad was basically like him when he was that age.
I always loved how, like, the key difference between Tony and Howard was that Howard is very clearly idealistic and Tony isn't. So I could imagine how Tony growing up in an atmosphere where his dad just gets older and more idealistic would make Tony so kind of futurist and practical.
Well, and kind of cynical, too.
Yeah, and kind of cynical.
His way of rebelling.
Yeah, it actually makes a lot more sense when we watch Avengers after this. And Steve and him have such an antagonistic relationship because Tony's dad and Tony, despite having similar personalities, they have completely opposite philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that doesn't make sense is this is supposed to be 41, right?
It may be
41
or 42.
Because
it has been
Pearl
a little
Harbor was end of
so
41.
Yeah.
More likely 42.
Yeah, and Bucky's a sergeant, so he wouldn't have just gotten that within like a few months, so it has to be like late 42.
Okay, so you can assume that Tony's dad is probably a lot younger than what Tony is in Iron Man 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I
just have trouble doing the math when it comes to that because like how old is Tony supposed to be in the new? Because I gather he's supposed to be born sometime in the 60s. Right?
I always assumed that Howard had kids when he was much older, so it never bothered me too much.
The Stark Expo from Iron Man 2 that they show in the past is in the 70s, I think, so... And Tony's a kid, so I would say, Tony's born late 60s, early 70s.
That would make sense.
It's Erskine.
I like this guy.
Stanley Tucci's fantastic.
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci needs to be in every movie ever, and it would automatically be good.
Pretty much.
I don't know a single Stanley Tucci movie that I have seen and he's bad. Or the movie is bad.
Yeah. He's one of those actors I just see and I'm like, he's good. He's the type of actor I want to be.
I love all of Erskine's tests. Like this one where he asks if he wants to kill Nazis. And then later on, we're going to get the thing with the grenade, and he gives Steve that speech about strength with powerful people versus strength with weak people.
Mm. Yeah, because those are the real tests.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of speaks to, I guess, your point earlier when you said Captain America kind of comes off a bit of as like a patriotic thing. What I thought was really interesting is that he looks like he's a propaganda piece, but he's not. Because when he was created, World War II for America wasn't going on. They were still isolationists. So when Jack Kirby and Joe Simon created him, he was always intended to be what people should be doing, not what the country's doing.
Okay.
And I love how this movie demonstrates that. Like, it doesn't matter that the military might have bullies or the war is a lot darker than it seems or anything like that. You need good people fighting the good fight, and that's exactly what Steve is.
And I think we're going to see that in the next movie, just based on the trailers. Some of the stuff, because he's not down with what S.H.I.E.L.D.'s doing.
Yeah, I love that scene in the trailer where he says, this isn't freedom, this is fear.
Yeah, because that's not what he fought for.
Exactly. And he also doesn't have a reason to fight anymore. which is something that the directors mentioned in an interview. Like, there's no reason for him to be a soldier at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I just
probably
love
owe him
it.
a lot of pension.
Like, yeah, where's my money? Another Doctor Who character. He played the Dream Lord.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wow,
Sorry,
I had no idea. And these are all like Matt Smith people. How did I not pick that up?
Yeah.
I love Matt Smith.
Sad to see him go.
I know, me too. That last episode with him was fantastic.
Mm.
Do you guys think
Almost
Zola will get the metal body in the next movie?
I hope.
I just thought he would have died.
Well, they officially confirmed he's in the movie, but they're also doing flashbacks with Howard Stark, so he may have died, or he may have gotten the TV in the stomach thing, which I hope they do.
Yeah.
I hope they do all of the silly stuff. Because I'm just curious to see how they would, like, adapt things.
Me too. Zola's in Avengers S.M.I. series, is he? Is he that giant head that keeps floating around with
No, that's
AIM?
MODOK.
Oh, okay.
Zola in Avengers Earth series. I think he's in that. He's a robot with a green TV screen for a stomach.
Oh, okay.
I think he's in that
we
show. I
see
don't know.
MODOK.
How cool would it be if like MODOK was the villain for Phase 3?
That
Like
would be
everyone
so
is
cool.
building up to Thanos, and it turns out it's just MODOK.
Oh, Dr. Zola. This will change the world.
Fun fact about this scene, Hugo Weaving and I forget the actor's name who plays Zola, they're actually staring at a hole in the wall, but they cut the scene because they think it would look more ominous if they didn't show what the effect was.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. There's a whole bunch of that in this movie where the actors are looking at and acting at one thing, but the movie will imply another because they think it works better.
Can I just call something on this?
Sure.
The British have been fighting this war a lot longer than the Americans.
Very true.
They're holding off the Nazis like crazy. And these guys like, Your Majesty, I thought I was here to train to whatever.
Well, that's why I like that she punches him out.
Yeah.
And I love just how very obviously these guys in the army are bullies.
Mm-hmm. Haley Atwell is a fantastic actor.
Oh, yes, I love her. I hope she does get that Agent Carter show greenlit, because I would watch that every week.
Oh yeah, that'd be 100 times better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I just think that it's not interesting.
It's starting to get a little bit interesting.
Traps was really good. Last week's episode was okay. Are you guys on the flag scene? Just to make sure we're on the same.
We're heading towards it now.
She just punched him in mine.
Oh, well, dang, I am really ahead.
Let's go to the gates of hell. Okay, I'm about to hit the flag scene.
Okay, cool. I am there right now. I'm just pausing for a few minutes to make sure we're on pace.
Okay.
I love this flag scene. This flag scene is really, really smart.
Yeah. Okay, he's just set the challenge up for him.
Okay. Cool.
And they're all trying to climb the the thing. And
I'm not sure if it's a scene that we just talked over or if it's coming out, but in Steve's room in his base, he actually has a whole bunch of like war strategy books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is really cool, because one of the big things about his character in this movie is that he knows when to disobey orders. And this is like a perfect instance of that. And we'll get that later on when he rescues all the people in the 107th. I love Haley Atwell's smile. She's so awesome.
Yeah, just wish you could smile like that at me.
I wish I could meet her, because I think she's a really interesting person. She does like so many interviews. Oh, this is the scene I was talking about, where that's actually Chris Evans doing the push-ups, but he's buff. He's really buff when they're filming this, so it just looks really funny.
It's a good choice. Here on Magpie's Nest Productions commentaries, you get to hear Magpie too. Strange accents. He's making me cry. Yeah, because clearly he's buff and he's struggling.
That's what's so great about so many of these scenes. Like, I think there's just an unedited version of this that the producers were tossing around, and it's hilarious that everyone installs Chris Evans' body up to halfway through the movie. And the grenade scene is absolutely hilarious, because it's like he swallowed the ground around him.
Everyone runs. He dies on it.
I feel like the grenade would explode and his biceps would just catch the explosion.
Protect the pretty girl, man. Protect the pretty girl.
I love how he's so obviously
Jones
always
is good in this, in the small role that he has.
Oh yeah, he's great in this. He's actually based on a real character too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's in past books, but in Ed Brubaker's run, when you get flashbacks about Steve's training, he's trained by General Phillips, and he looks exactly like Tommy Lee Jones.
Huh, that's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah. He actually also talks like Tommy Lee Jones, where he talks like in quick bursts and then one exaggerated word.
That's it. I'm adding Captain America to my pull list.
Who is writing the current Cap book?
Rick Remender, and it's okay. Really, really good. Castaway and Dimension Z is one of the best Captain America stories I ever read. It's really good.
I just feel, though, I'd probably be more interested in all the World War II stuff. But he was still... Like, anything there would be great to read, I reckon.
Most of the Brubaker stuff has lots of World War II flashbacks. There's a fantastic scene in I think it's the second issue of his run called Out of Time, where he has a flashback, and he's talking to Sharon Carter about how he hates how Americans call the French cowards, and he just has a flashback about how brave the French were and how he saw 600 dead men, and how he gave them the moment of victory because they liberated their country. It's actually a really touching scene. There's a bunch of like World War II flashbacks and some Cold War stuff in Ed Brubaker's run. He's really an aficionado on that subject.
If I ever get to write for Marvel, I'm so bringing in my ideal character, Major Australia.
Gotta outrank him.
Yeah, because it sounds better than Captain Australia.
That Captain Australia actually sounds kind of cool.
Well, he actually exists.
Does he?
There is a Captain Australia in real life.
That's fantastic.
He's one of those actual superhero people that runs around Sydney. Haven't seen him.
Sorry, what?
I should say, there's a new Captain Canuck book that's going to be coming out.
I want to read that. That sounds great.
They've totally revamped the character, so it's actually good.
Is he dark and gritty and like really Nolan Batman?
No, not at all. It's like fun.
That would be awesome. Did you know if you guys talked to me exactly 1 year ago, I would actually also be Captain Steve? Because I used to be in ROTC and I was a captain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I would have been Captain Steve. I miss it. I miss my rank.
I don't know where you guys are in this, but I'm in the part where he's telling them all about Red Skull.
He's just finished with that.
I just finished part 2.
Wait, I love this bit. He's poured him a glass of...
Oh yeah, like, wait, you can't drink that.
No, I can drink. I don't have procedure tomorrow. He hasn't quite got to that bit.
It's actually kind of sad, because now he's never going to be able to drink, ever.
Mm-hmm.
No, he can drink, he just can't
he can't do the thing about drinking that's important. But no, I had this a whole other section in my review about how Steve cares so much about other people that he completely forgets about himself. Like, he never stops to think what super soldier serum could do to him, and one of the side effects is not being able to get drunk, especially when he's really depressed. And he never thinks about how him sacrificing himself could be bad for his kind of dance date with Agent Carter. And he's broken up about it at the very end, but like it's kind of endearing that the guy never cares about the consequences. When he's going through the recruitment process, he always talks to those sergeants as if he's already in, even though they reject him. Like, this guy is not afraid of anything, and he doesn't care how long it takes to do something. He will do it if he wants to.
It's an interesting set of values, and I guess it is maybe a little bit more classic of the whole. Because, I mean, that is a very old idea, like even going back well beyond, the 1940s of, the individual making the sacrifice for the collective.
Yeah, of course. I think what makes it interesting with Captain America, though, is that Red Skull is always talking about how he's the superior man, and he doesn't want Captain America to wear a flag of a nation on his chest because they're above that. And Steve doesn't see himself that way at all. We were talking about this before we recorded, but like a lot of this philosophy between the super soldiers of Red Skull and Captain America is really inspired from Ubermensch and Nietzsche work. So it's interesting to see how Steve kind of fulfills that superior man philosophy better than Red Skull, because he, I think Nietzsche's exact quote is that the superior man is, oh God, what was it? It's Caesar with the soul of Christ, and that's kind of what Steve is, because everyone is able to look up to him. He makes his own set of values, and they kind of defeat every other set of values, but they're also really kind, and they're really compassionate, and they're really endearing, which is the exact opposite of Red Skull, where the Red Skull just stops at destroy everyone else's value, and never about creating our own value system.
Yeah, Red Skull is the 14-year-old boy's reading of Nietzsche.
Pretty much.
Not the, like, actual person who studied Nietzsche.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be Steve.
But it's interesting.
Steve is all the life affirmation and transvaluation of values.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Steve is. And it's great because he doesn't see himself that way. And I always like to compare it a little bit to like how Red Skull is, what if divine command theory was really, really twisted? And then Steve is, what if divine command theory didn't know divine command theory existed?
I just want to say it was actually Steve and Alex talking about Nietzsche, not me. Because, well, I didn't finish high school, did I? I was just way too awesome.
Too cool for school in the most literal sense.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you can't read books now.
Oh, no, like all this stuff I just get from philosophy courses. I'm a philosophy major, and it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, another philosophy major.
I love philosophy. I love this scene with the umbrella, that coded talk from Spy Times.
Yeah.
And then she has a Tommy gun right under her desk like it's nothing.
A Tommy gun.
This is one of the very few scenes where it's a body double with Chris Evans' face pasted on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they spent like days and days making sure both of their movements of the head and everything were exactly the same.
Wow. That'd be tiring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it totally would be.
Talking from an actor's perspective, yes, it would be.
Is that great. Like a Lincoln Zephyr?
Wait, where?
The car.
Oh, maybe.
I'm way past that.
Oh, I'm not. They're just going into the antique store.
Oh, man.
Me and Steve are fine. That's weird.
That is weird. I don't know where the viewer is, but...
How come every time everyone watches a movie at the same time, someone's always ahead? I can never understand how that actually happens.
Did you actually... you must have more warnings ahead of yours than I do.
Maybe. Well, I had like a PG-13 warning before the movie started for me.
Oh, okay. Somebody get that kid a sandwich.
I love that. Oh, wait, I'm not that part.
Yeah.
Do you guys recognize the guy with the glasses who's going to blow this place up?
No.
Because he looks like I've seen him in a bunch of shows, but I don't know who it is.
Once I see him, I'll be able to tell you.
Okay.
If I know or not.
Bring up on computer, IMDb. Okay, why didn't that work? Oh.
Siri? Who's that guy that was in that thing?
He was doing that thing at that time. Doing that other thing.
You know. Come on, Siri. It's going to be good when you can just, like, wear, like, an EEG thing, and it'll just read your mind.
I would love that. Did you guys ever have those games as a kid where you think and, like, it makes a ball move or something?
No, I've seen them. I'm actually invested in Muse, which is like a EEG headband thing that they're coming out with quite soon. So I'm excited.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near as pretentious as Google Glass.
No.
Okay. One thing I don't understand, he never wrote this formula down anywhere, ever.
Well, the thing about that was that Red Skull was his great failure, so I could understand if he didn't, and even if he did, I don't know where someone would look for it.
Mm.
Plus, this is before they could log anything anywhere aside from paper.
I get that, it's just really weird.
It is a little bit weird, I give you that.
Giant punch card computer. But that whole thing, though, makes for an interesting development in this version of the Marvel Universe, in that this Hulk is completely different in that Banner was trying to recreate the super soldier serum.
That's very ultimate, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool. It shows that like actions have consequences, and it kind of nicely ties everything together.
Yeah. I'm gonna love if they do the Mark Waid Hulk in the next film, if they ever make a next Hulk film, where he just works for S.H.I.E.L.D. And he just moves on with his life. Because that'd be the perfect progression at that point.
It would, and I'm the guy who's always like, can we please stop suggesting what's going on in the comics right now should be what they're doing in the movies? But totally fits. That totally fits.
The thing about Marvel was always that every time they make a movie, they change the comics to affix the movie, and it's gotten to the point where the movies and the comics actually complement each other so well. Like, I think Castaway and Dimension Z would make a great Captain America 3. And that's the story arc that just ended, so I think that'd be awesome. And if, Bendis' story with the past X-Men ever ends, that could make a good movie.
I
love the how it should have ended version of this, where it steps out its Human Torch. No, wait.
On the commentary, the producers were talking like this. In the commentary, the producers were talking about how every time there's a machine in this movie, it always gets stuck on 70%.
Really?
Yeah. Like, this is the first time, and the Red Skull did it earlier, actually. And then they do it again later on. I forget where, but I think it's in one of the Hydra bases. Like, every time it's always 70% for some reason.
That's funny. I love the production design for this movie. It's so deliciously retro future.
Yeah. Like it's on the it's just like a notch above steampunk, isn't it?
Well, it's diesel punk.
Oh, yeah, true.
And I love that whole, like, heightened 1940s aesthetic.
Oh, yeah,
I love that there are Vita rays.
Something about this movie thematically that I love is that we don't get an injection and we see his body grow. He steps in and then he comes out, and it's always about the man that went in and the man that comes out and how they're similar or different. Like, him having the transformation behind a closed door really says something important about what they're trying to do with his character. And if he changed at all between those transformations, he'd become something totally different than what Captain America is. And I thought they handled that whole thing really well.
Was it an episode of Spider-Man linked in with the creation of Captain America? Because I feel like I saw...
in the 90s one, there was.
Was there?
Because Black Cat's father stole something back then. there were a lot of flashbacks to, Project Rebirth, I guess.
Oh, okay.
If Sony didn't have the Marvel rights and Marvel did, I bet you that Peter Parker would be a byproduct of someone recreating the Super Soldier Serum.
I hope they're somehow able to merge all the stuff in a single universe.
If only, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would love if there was just one scene in X-Men Days of Future Past where someone steps into, like, a multiverse room, and there's just clips of every comic book movie ever made, everywhere, and they just realize that it is just one big universe.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Chris Evans in this movie?
I think he surprised everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Because I was, like, in the camp of, no, why are we picking Chris Evans? That doesn't make a single lick of sense. And then he showed up. I'm like, oh, never mind.
And he just, like, is that character. He says
I can't imagine a
with
single person.
This kind of...
Yeah. I'm just surprised no one was going, the guy from Not Another Teen movie?
Yeah. Like, he played Johnny Storm and he played Captain America, and he does them so perfectly. I had no idea that he was this good of an actor.
Well, yeah, when you're trying to be an actor, it's a strange experience. I'm learning more and more about it all the time.
Well, it's funny because my dad's an actor and he doesn't like Chris Evans very much.
Really?
Yeah. His problem with Chris Evans
or just in general.
Well, he thinks he's good for the role, but the problem he always saw with Chris Evans is that he never pushes out of the background. Like he always blends into the film. He doesn't have a lot of presence, and I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I think he looks the part and he acts the part, and he has the posture and the grace. Like he understands what he has to do to be Captain America, even if he doesn't have the presence for it.
Do you think that kind of fits the character, though? Since he isn't a showboat?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if you have Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. stand by side like that in the Avengers, Robert Downey Jr. does steal the scene, but Captain America as a person just kind of equalizes it, and Chris Evans gets that really well. Like if you watch interviews with Chris Evans, he really does understand what Captain America is supposed to be, and he clearly loves the character.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
He can run so fast.
I love that he crashes into the flower shop. That's hilarious. Or wedding store, actually. Never mind. It's like a bridal store. Something like that.
Don't throw the boy in the water, because...
My God, you're so far ahead.
Yeah.
That's like a good 3 minutes ahead.
Okay. Tell me when the boy falls in the water.
I love that he just assumes the kid can't swim, and he can't.
Yeah.
Everyone always assumes that kids can't swim.
Oh. And like I can now that I've paused it, I can see the ladder's like right there.
I guess I shouldn't really talk there because I can't swim. So if that guy threw me in the water, I'd be kind of screwed.
I was trained at an early age to swim.
Yeah, I was too.
Lucky.
But that's because my mother didn't learn, so she's like, you have to.
I'm just not an outdoorsy person.
Oh.
I love that the submarine looks like a bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, you're already past that bit. Okay.
Oh. Wait, did you pause yours?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I guess now I'm ahead.
I'll catch up, don't worry.
I'm at he's using the taxi door as a shield.
Clearly, we are watching 3 different movies at this point. I don't understand how he could catch up to the submarine. At the same time, it wasn't going too far down, so maybe it works.
He's Captain America, and he's got the super soldier serum. It can do whatever the plot requires him to do.
That's true. I mean, this movie isn't trying to be realistic or anything. I could see totally how he could catch up. I just think it's funny.
And to justify it, maybe the submarine hasn't fully got its speed up yet.
Yeah, exactly. That could definitely be it. But back to this Hydra guy who just cyanided himself. Who is he?
I have
He
no
looks
idea.
vaguely familiar, but
Doesn't he? Like, I feel like he looks like a blend of the guy who plays Malcolm Merlyn and Simon from Firefly.
Okay, he is not. Oh, what's his name now? I can't remember it.
The guy who plays Jack Harkness in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He looks a little bit like him.
No, it's not him.
No, it's totally not
Oh,
him.
it's not. He's not flamboyant enough.
No, it's totally not him. It just looks a little bit like him.
I should mention I'm probably going to meet him in a couple of months.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, he's coming out to Australia, so I'll probably get to see him.
you know, you would think with all the superior German engineering that Hydra would build a submarine that has bulletproof windows that you couldn't just have somebody punch right through.
No, dude, they are bulletproof. Didn't you know? He's just Captain America is that strong. Like I said, can do whatever the blood makes.
Usually when you put cyanide in a tooth, too, it's one of the molars and not one of your front teeth.
He's just.
I just bit into a really tough sandwich. Oh no, the cyanide's coming out. Ah!
Yeah, basically the Hydra guys are just on a diet of soup. That's all they do.
It fits with all the blood they have to wear. They just inject things into their bloodstream.
Oh, that's the way to go.
Oh.
Some guy has a toothache and he's screwed.
These guys are so stupid.
I love how over the top Red Skull is.
Did he turn on the Nazis this quick in the comics? Because it just seems really weird.
He was kind of always against the Nazis.
Uh,
He's supposedly Hitler's right-hand man, but he was always after things that were not in the scope of Hitler.
okay.
So, all of Hitler's right-hand men in real life.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just like Goebbels, just like Himmler, pretty much everyone you know. Night of the Long Knives, anyone?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that's what happens if you set up a system that rewards that kind of behavior.
Yeah, exactly. You rise to power through that system, and then you block it for everybody else, and then it's just not a good mess. I kind of miss my high school days of studying 20th century history because it's so fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Things move so quickly. The hilarious Hydra salute.
The double black power salute?
Yeah. It's the campiest thing ever, but it works. One day
and the Nazi salute wasn't?
Well, I feel like the Nazi salute, because the Nazi salute was like a mix of Hail Caesar.
Yeah,
so
it goes back to the
bit.
Romans.
Exactly, but with the Hydra salute, you're just standing at like military attention and shooting both your arms up. It just looks funny.
Okay, yeah, I still want Hydra in in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I just don't see it coming back in any of the movies anytime soon. It's like...
I kind of wonder, because I know they've talked about in Phase 3 maybe doing like Civil War, but I don't know, I kind of want to see what's going on continue to escalate. And like we see AIM becomes its own thing, and Hydra's still around, and they have to like team up to fight the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, cool. Like the universe is still really kind of young, despite how many characters they've already got on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Thanos thing, I doubt we would get Civil War. Even if we wanted to push Civil War as soon as possible, the most recent you could do it is Phase 4, and that'd still be just a little bit too soon. Unless, it depends on how you play it, though, I guess.
Yeah, I just see this problem coming out of the movies. Like, after the third one, people just start losing interest. So
we've totally oversaturated the market of comic book movies. By 2015, the sales are definitely going to slip.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, like, and to what degree, too, has building a shared universe been a house of cards? Because, like, if these movies start failing, then, like, the whole thing sort of falls apart.
Marvel talks a lot about like this James Bondy thing where they just replace the main actor, but I think they're kind of running into the problem of like Chris Evans wants to take a break after Avengers 2. Robert Downey Jr. isn't coming back after Avengers 3, and he's not coming back for any more Iron Men. Chris Hemsworth will do more if the fans want to, but he doesn't like necessarily want to. I think
he's got to come back to Australia and make a movie.
Yeah,
that's what Aussie actors do.
They might get to this point where so many of the original actors are gone that it's going to be hard to maintain what this universe was. I hope they don't, but I also hope they kind of like solidified their investments, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I kind of wonder too if it is a case of like people just kind of get burnt out on superhero movies, and like even if you have like Avengers 4 or 5 or whatever, and has a completely different cast with whole new heroes. You got Ant-Man and Captain Marvel and whomever in there. Are people
maybe
still going to be interested? I really wonder though, like how long this superhero kick is going to last. Because Dark Knight is the one that really started it. Dark Knight and Iron Man, and then Avengers put it on like an all-time high. Iron Man 3 did really good. Thor: The Dark World did pretty good. I guess after Avengers 2 comes out, we'll really know what people feel. Yeah. Because we've got some really ambitious movies coming up. Like the next 3 comic book movies of X-Men Days of Future Past, Avengers 2, and Superman vs. Batman. I guess depending on how well they do, we'll know how long the comic book fad's going to last. And I hope it does last.
Oh,
I mean, obviously I'm biased. But
they've gotten to this point where the media, it's not funny anymore when they make the geeks the stereotypical geeks of like the 80s and the 90s. Like if you watch geeks on TV now, they are just normal people who happen to know about comic books and video games and stuff.
I think that was helped by Big Bang Theory, to be honest.
I would disagree because I think the Big Bang Theory perpetuates that stereotype still. Because I feel like every time those guys make a joke about comic books, they don't actually know what they're talking about. Like they had this argument about who would be a better Robin, Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. If you read Batman comics, that's not a good argument. That doesn't make any sense.
Come on, it's like Dick Grayson. Come on.
Well, I think that show's done a bit of both. Like I think it's done it to normalize. It's normalized it for people who aren't in the know, but for those of us who are, it's kind of like insulting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't watch more than like 15 minutes of Big Bang Theory without getting a migraine.
I honestly don't think that show's going to last too much longer. It seems like when I watch it, it seems like it's heading towards its ending. So
I hope so.
Oh no, it's Hitler.
You are like so far behind me.
I just got past that part. I love this line later on where he says, "Don't worry, I've knocked that Hitler over 200 times."
Yeah, just something quick. I want to ask you, what do you think about the origin of the suit for this? Like.
The way like it progresses from like the campy straight off the page to like darker Ultimates to a blend. Yeah,
what do you think of the like how it came about? Like it was used in this for him to sell bonds.
I love it actually. I think what makes it work is that at this point, despite Steve not liking what he's doing, this is where he realizes what he's kind of become. He's more than a propaganda piece. He knows he's got an impact on what people have to say, but he has to be more than that. So the darker uniform and the really campy uniform, when they blend into his practical uniform, it makes a lot of sense for what he's learned throughout the course of the movie, and it makes a lot of sense for what he wants to do. Mm-hmm. And I think it still works like iconic Captain America. The only issue I ever had with it is like I wish the wings were still kind of off the helmet, but that's okay.
Yeah, I want that too. And there are ways to do it and make it not look stupid. But
like John Romita Jr. does it on the couple issues of Captain America he drew, and it looks fine. And he even has like the movie suit where it's like armored instead of chainmailed or felty. It looks fine. I don't know why they can't do it.
But it's interesting how when he goes to the front with the USO tour, how they like don't respond to it at all.
Yeah. I love this idea in the movie of the reality of World War II versus the fantasy. Because this movie is entirely from Steve Rogers' perspective. So he's really filtering everything he's seeing through his lens of optimism. But there's always like these cracks of reality that break in. Like despite how much kind of hero propaganda, happy-go-lucky attitude he's inspiring over back at home, it's not what everyone else has. And like the fight in the alley and the woman crying in the theater and this scene right here, it all shows that World War II was not a good thing. But Steve never loses the optimism of how good it could be or what they're really fighting for. He's still always kind of, I guess to paraphrase Rick Remender, he doesn't let his circumstances change him.
Yeah.
And I buy the romance in this movie.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it's not shoved down your throat either. It's not like, these two are in love, can't you tell? It's like...
It's really Iron Man, because they don't actually have a relationship until the last minute of the movie, and then they only plan a date, they never go out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that could almost be a whole discussion in itself, like, the Pepper-Tony relationship is so weird, and at the same time, it's like the most normal one that we've seen in a superhero movie.
Yeah, exactly. This movie actually has a lot in common with Iron Man. Funny to say.
Yeah, I've been kind of noticing that as we've been going through here.
Yeah, like when we get to the ending, it's almost the exact same way they ended Iron Man, with like the status quo was completely different, but you still got a complete story out of it. The relationship works the same way. There's a couple other things. It was in my review. I forgot.
Yes, and you can check that review out after April.
April 3rd, it will be up. Wait, I think I'll upload it April 2nd, then I'll upload the other review April 3rd, and then Winter Soldier April 4th. It's going to be a thing, don't worry about it.
It's going to be a thing.
I don't want to announce it because I feel like I'm not going to get it done, and everyone's going to be disappointed.
I think this is a really good way to... Tommy Lee's acting is really good.
Yeah.
His performance in this is far and away better than what he did in Batman Forever. Okay, where is the Australian flag? On the map, there was British. Where, you couldn't fit the other... Because this is supposed to be like France, right?
I don't remember.
Okay, well...
Isn't he, about to go to Austria?
Yeah, okay, so...
He's probably somewhere in Europe, not France necessarily.
And it's just like, if Australia was a big part of the European push, there's places over in France, especially where they celebrate Anzac Day, because the Australians liberated a whole bunch of towns from the Nazis over there. It's a pretty big deal.
Oh, yeah. That whole France liberation and getting out of the occupied Germany is a really fascinating story.
Mm.
So can we assume from this, then, that this version of Captain America didn't fight at D-Day?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how much time they cover in the flashbacks. Because the way it looked at the end of the movie, it's like essentially Captain America's defeating the Red Skull was the last battle of the war.
Mm.
I wonder if in this version the fight goes way past when it's supposed to end.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder too, because it's how do all these crazy technologies and stuff affect how the war went?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess in real life the Germans had more advanced stuff, and it didn't help them all that much. But
no, because they all came too late to really change the course of the war.
Yeah,
that's true. Although this would severely change the course of the Cold War.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, because, you have things like Operation Paperclip, and you have the Soviets and the Americans going in and stealing all the German scientists, and whoever could get their hands on the most Hydra weapons. Oh, yeah.
All those U-2 spy planes and the incidents with them would be completely different.
Mm.
It actually kind of justifies the Winter Soldier, now that we think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm curious to see what we'll see of that in the next movie.
I really hope they keep the comic book origin intact. I hope they even go so far as to, like, give him the same reason for being called the Winter Soldier. I doubt it, but if they do, that'd be great.
Isn't it the reason he's called the Winter Soldier is they keep freezing him?
Actually, no. It's kind of subtle. What happens basically is there's that the colonel, the general from Russia that makes him the Winter Soldier. His name is Karpov, and when he talked with Steve Rogers back in the war, what his big thing was that the Germans have super soldiers, the Americans have super soldiers. Everybody's got secret weapons. The only thing that the Russians have is the winter, and that's how they fight the war. And that's how they won Stalingrad. Basically, is that they relied on the winter. And when he created the Winter Soldier, he says they're just going to combine the elements with the soldier. And he says that the Winter Soldier is his sick joke on Americans. Because it's essentially a super soldier powered by what made the Russians kind of survive the war. Yeah. I doubt they'll keep that history, but I wish they did.
The winter is the thing that keeps beating every army that wants to invade.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is like they so lucked out in that when the Germans invaded, they had the worst winter ever since Napoleon invaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's what does stop Napoleon as well.
The Russian winter cannot be beat, man.
No, it can't.
That's. I guess that also makes the Winter Soldier a little cooler because he kind of globetrots in his Cold War assassinations, so it's like the Russian winter attacks everyone. That does kind of make me wonder, though, how he continues to call himself the Winter Soldier long after he's regained his memories.
Yeah. I ought to read that book.
Oh, dude, do yourself a favor and read it. It's my favorite Captain America story of all time.
People keep recommending stuff to me, so I got to find time for all this reading.
If you ever touch Captain America ever, Winter Soldier should be where you start.
Okay. I am going away. I am going up to King's Comics again soon, so I'll pick it up then.
Cool, nice. They're reprinting it for the movie, so you should be able to get a nice premium hardcover.
Oh, you wouldn't believe you wouldn't
the classic Shield in this.
Yeah,
I love the classic Shield. I love that he doesn't throw it in this rescue operation because he can't.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not round.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's fun that he's just kind of lugging it around.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Oh, here comes the line where I've knocked Hitler over. I love that.
I'm Captain America. Of course you are. It's not.
They made a Hot Toys version of this costume, and I wish I bought it. I actually bought the third version costume, but I still really like this one. The jacket's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've knocked out Adolf Hitler over 200 times.
That's just the best way to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Did he actually do that in the comics? Did he
No.
actually just...
I don't think so. I don't even think he punched Hitler in the comics outside of that cover. But I don't know. I haven't read a lot of Golden Age Cap.
Yeah.
Johnny Canuck punched out Hitler 3 times.
Well, there
and
you
then
go.
made fun of him. It was funny because he's in Hitler's office and he punches him the second time and knocks him over the desk, and he runs out, and then the German soldiers has to run back in and then punches Hitler out again. He makes some funny comment, but
I love how in Doctor Who they lock Hitler in a closet.
Yeah. Have you seen that meme where they say, "What do we do with the things that scare us? We put them in the closet." And then they say,
Closets are the most dangerous things ever for your mind, next to underneath the bed.
it's going to be sad when Moffat leaves.
Oh, yeah, totally. I do love those stories.
I don't
So,
care
are these weapons plasma weapons?
Well, they're powered by the cosmic cube, and that's all Asgardian energy, so I would assume it's powered by, like, runes and stuff like that. Not necessarily lasers or plasma or anything like that.
Because I'm just wondering why there's, like, a kickback.
That's a good point.
Not that it really has to make sense, but it's just
I mean, no, it
interesting.
doesn't. I guess it's
Sick.
just weird because everything is powered by the cosmic cube, and we don't know what the cosmic cube is outside of apparently an infinity gem at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which I thought that was a clever thing.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. That makes the Infinity Gauntlet just so much more dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, God, what are the other three going to be?
Is Hugo Weaving wearing some type of, like, creepy contact lenses?
Not that I know of.
No.
His eyes just look way darker to me.
I'm really not sure. They actually rushed a lot of Hugo Weaving scenes, so how he got the chance to, like, do some of the subtle things with his performance, I will never know. Are you guys up to the scene where he's about to get Bucky out of the chair?
I just landed it there now.
Okay, this is something that will make the movie live or die depending on how they play the Winter Soldier. Because Sebastian Stan said that this scene, there's something in here that will explain how he's alive. And quite clearly the Winter Soldier in the movie is going to have some superpowers. So if they say that at this scene they gave him a super soldier formula, it makes everything else after this not make any sense, because how did he not show off superpowers? I think they're smarter than that, but it's just a thought considering what they're doing with him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a multi. The way I can see it working is they gave him something there, and then enough to have him live after the fall that comes later, but then later on more stuff comes in.
Possibly. I don't know. I guess we haven't seen the movie yet, but it's just a curious question.
Yeah, well, it's clear that he wasn't exposed to the Vita rays.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So then maybe it's like only partially in his system, or not activated until Vita rays or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'll be curious to see how he lost his arm. I don't know how a fall will make you lose an entire left arm.
Yeah, that's a good question. Frostbite? I don't know.
Yeah, all honesty, it could be.
That's why they call him the Winter Soldier.
Oh. Hugo Weaving wears long leather jackets really well.
I wish I had enough leather jackets to pull that off.
Oh.
The way they made this effect work, I don't know how. Like him peeling his own face off, but it looks so good.
Yeah.
I guess this is a little bit where the Nietzsche stuff comes in. Where he says we've left humanity behind, and he's really proud of who he is, and Steve doesn't get that yet.
Dent in the shield.
I love that. I kind of wish, like at Avengers at some point, they had like a museum and Cap's shield was there with a punch in it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I want the statues on Liberty Island. I hope we see those in the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Like, what if the final confrontation somewhere around there?
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic.
Wouldn't it? Oh man, everything about the Winter Soldier has me excited. I feel like my expectations are just so high that I'm going to be doomed to fail, but I don't care.
Okay, Is that a rocket ship or is that a helicopter? I can't tell.
It's a rockacopter. I love the Red Skull's limousine. It's the coolest thing ever. It's got 6 wheels. I don't know what it's doing with 6 wheels, but it has 6 wheels.
No, sorry, nothing.
Even
beats...
his car has surpassed automobiles.
No, sorry, nothing beats Lady Penelope's Rolls Royce.
Although
do you know who that? Do either of you know who that is?
I have seen it before. I have a friend who's from England. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he mentioned it.
Supposedly, it has a rocket launcher in the trunk.
Where does James Bond's Aston Martin rank in this?
That's probably 3rd on the ladder.
Okay, because I think the copter rocket thing should go somewhere.
One day I'll do a master list of like all my favorite vehicles.
Movie vehicles?
Yeah, I'd have to separate them between movie and TV.
Okay, the DeLorean?
The DeLorean travels in time, so therefore it has to be on the list somewhere. Just
because it also drives. It's also a car. And then there's also the DeLorean time machine technology on a train.
Like, I wouldn't put the TARDIS on there because technically you can drive it, but it's just practicality kind of leaves. It's sort of in its own category.
I feel like the TARDIS would make you dizzy because it's spinning in space.
No, not really. It just appears to be spinning.
Well, like when it's flying through the air, though.
No, not really. Not if you go by the Runaway Bride theory, the way they present it in the Runaway Bride.
I don't think I've watched that episode.
Oh, really?
Sure.
So you've watched the Matt Smith stuff, but you haven't watched the David Tennant stuff, all of it yet?
I've like skimmed around David Tennant stuff. Matt Smith I just really, really liked, so I watched all of that. I watched all the Eccleston stuff, and I like that. I should probably go back at Tennant at some point.
Yeah.
Because I had no reaction whatsoever to seeing Tennant on screen for the 50th anniversary. I'm like, oh, it's another Doctor. That's cool.
Yeah. I still have questions on why the War Doctor couldn't have been 8. I understand why it couldn't have been Eccleston, but like, why couldn't it have been McGann?
I have no idea. That would have been great. Because it makes the whole regeneration thing just so much more confusing than it has to be.
Yeah.
I love the scene when they're walking the army back, because it parallels the film clip that he did where he's walking with pretend soldiers so well.
Yeah.
Like it's a real evolution of where he was and where he's gotten.
Mm.
And the first thing he says, I guess when he walks up to Phillips in a few minutes, is he's surrendering himself for disciplinary action. And he still broke orders when he had to. It's so consistent with that flag scene. I love it.
Mm. Alright, I think I figured out why there are no Australian soldiers in this. They're too busy fighting in the Asian region.
Yeah, it's Pacific Theater.
That's it.
Pacific. Yeah, probably so.
Mm.
But that makes me wonder what Captain America's about to do in this montage, though. Because if it's not the Pacific Theater, is he just like fighting random battles whenever the army needs him?
Mm-hmm.
Has Cap ever been shown to have fought in the Pacific Theater?
A couple times, I believe. There's an entire book about him fighting the Japanese on an island, but it's not specific about what time it is. So it could be Pacific Theater or it could be beforehand.
Mm.
And Bucky wasn't there, so it could be really early, but I don't know.
Mm.
I wish I was half the Captain America expert that I am on Batman.
This is probably my least favorite Stan Lee cameo.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He doesn't do anything.
Well, he shouldn't even be in this, because he didn't create Captain America.
Yeah, that's true. Joe Simon's still around. I don't know why he's not in here.
Must be like any Marvel movie, it's he gets the cameo.
I really wish, because we have the technology, we have freaking Steve McQueen and Ford commercials still. I wish we could just do like a CGI Jack Kirby in one of these films one day.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I mean,
he
did half the stuff we love in these films, right?
Well, more than half, really.
Yeah, Captain America was kind of his baby.
Yeah, because what's that movie? Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow. Very much similar kind of an aesthetic to this, but maybe a couple decades earlier. They brought back Laurence Olivier, like computer generated, and he's like a hologram at the end. And they did that in Superman Returns with Marlon Brando. So I don't see why we couldn't create hologram Jack Kirby. He would probably dig that too.
I don't even care if he speaks. I just want him there at some point because the guy did so much for comic books in general.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows Stan Lee, but Stan Lee didn't even know who Wolverine was in the 90s. He doesn't follow along very much.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he did help create a lot of this stuff, but he didn't contribute or stick with it the way some of the other creators who don't get cameos did.
No. But Stan Lee has always been about the showboating and the publicity and
to be fair, this movie only exists because he did all that. But at the same time, I guess credit where it's due.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always forget Natalie Dormer's in this.
Yeah. There's so many actors in here that I just never thought about.
Yeah.
I really like her, and I wish that she would get a role in one of these types of movies, because she could totally... I think, to be perfectly honest, I think she could pull off Wonder Woman.
Really?
Yeah, because she has that good balance of, being caring, but also, really intense and frightening when she needs to be.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think she could definitely do that, then. I guess we'll see in 2015, depending on how that Wonder Woman works out.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping the rewrites might work out.
Well, apparently they're filming next month at the time of this recording, so I doubt they had any time to rework any of the script aside from minor details.
Well, so you'd be surprised at what the minor details can do to a film sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's true. This is definitely proof of that because there's so many reshoots in it, but the script was already so weird and didn't make a lot of sense prior to them delaying the film. I don't know what they could have done within a span of a month to fix all that.
Maybe it wasn't as bad as we were led to believe.
Well, I mean, did you read the leaked stuff, the leaked script details? Because someone from the production actually uploaded it.
I try to avoid most of that stuff, but
yeah, so do I. I want to go in there without too much knowledge, apart from seeing the first trailer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, these days I try to even avoid trailers to a degree. But
trailers have gotten so bad that they give away cameos at this point.
I don't mind if it's something. I don't mind them giving away cameos just as long as they don't overdo it too much.
It's interesting how Bucky here reacts and how he sort of still sees Steve as the way Steve used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Still way ahead of you guys.
Yeah, I love the line he just delivers where he says, "I'm following the kid who was too dumb to run away from a fight," because that's kind of the essence of the character at that point, isn't it? Because Steve doesn't evolve necessarily. Steve just kind of gets the means and the opportunity that he was always denied for his lack of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And Bucky loves that, or I assume Bucky likes that that Steve doesn't change, that Steve's always been the good guy. And if anyone knows what to do about Nazis and about Hydra, it's going to be Steve.
Yeah, that is kind of an interesting point now that I think about it, that, he doesn't really change as a character. He doesn't really go through much of an arc in this.
Yeah, and it's a little Batman where he's not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I guess another point I wrote in my review is that the moment you make Steve go through a character arc after his transformation or change what he is after transformation, he's not really Captain America. Because the whole reason he was picked to be Captain America is that they trusted that he wouldn't change.
But the important thing is you give him an opportunity to change, and he just doesn't decide to.
Yeah, like the Red Skull is constantly asking him to join his side, or spouting out this philosophy of we are the superior race, kind of Magneto-y, but Steve doesn't accept any of it. He stays who he is. Again, like what Erskine says, not a perfect soldier, but a good man. And they play up that he's a good guy really, really hard early on, so it's easy to buy later on.
Where are you guys up to now?
Natalie Dormer's kissing him.
Yes.
Okay.
I never liked the fact that Haley Atwell just walks up on that kiss. I feel like that's really soap opera-y.
Yeah. Because now she's starting to question, is he really that good guy?
But I also do love that he has like a picture of her in his watch, and they're always giving each other glances and stuff. Like, they never fully dive into a relationship, but they've always kind of had a thing for each other, and I think that's kind of nice. It's played really slow and really natural, considering that Steve is always going to be a shy person.
I just think that kiss is kind of funny. Like, it's a moment of humor in this dark, it's kind of dark movie. Not terribly dark, but it's like you need those funny moments. And it also sets up stuff for later on where he holds the shield and she pulls a gun on him and shoots the shield.
That was in the trailer, and that was hilarious.
Yeah.
The way she's tried to shoot him, you would think that he cheated on her and they were, like, married.
Yeah.
But she still plays it so well. I love that actress.
And we can't explain what vibranium is, because, you know, that's owned by another company.
Black Panther?
Well, no, because vibranium was, like, from an attempt to make adamantium, wasn't it? Or no, is it the other way around?
I thought vibranium was the natural substance and adamantium was made from it.
Okay, then it's the refined stuff.
I don't know. You don't have to quote me on that. I just thought it was because the Wakandans guard that place like it's their own natural resource.
Yeah.
When are we going to see a Black Panther movie?
Well, I heard that
I
heard Wesley Snipes wanted to do it before Blade came along.
And they had for the longest time they've had scripts working around. Like the Doctor Strange script that they might do in Phase 3 came along at the same time they were doing scripts for Iron Fist and Black Panther. And Iron Fist is now getting a TV show, so Black Panther might not be far behind.
He definitely deserves a movie.
Oh yeah, he could be a fascinating character. And you know what would be really interesting is that the Winter Soldier actually killed one of the kings of Wakanda during an economic conference during the Cold War. So it could be really cool if you tie in Black Panther and him as kind of the Captain America of Africa.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be really cool. Oh,
I just saw my favorite. This is my favorite Captain America outfit, guys.
I just started the montage. I love this.
Yeah. It's kind of started it. So I'm not too... As long as I don't get too far ahead of you guys, that's it. He's in the snow now.
Okay, well, I'm not in the snow just yet, but I'm close. I love this montage. I don't like that they kind of glassed over so many battles, but I do like that they showed it's definitely been a long period of time.
Yeah.
This movie could have standed to be at least another 30 minutes, I would think.
Yeah, I've said before, I kind of feel like this should have been like the Lawrence of Arabia of superhero
we
movies.
mentioned that on Twitter.
Yeah. So, I don't know, like I would have liked more of a war epic feel to this second part of this, I guess after he gets the serum. But, I know, I can understand how people, I guess nowadays, don't want to sit in the theater for 3 or 4 hours.
That's such bullshit, I reckon. If the movie's good, they should. I don't mind it being 2.5. I think 3 hours might be pushing it.
There's so many movies that I could sit in the theater for 3 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Lord of the Rings, each one of those, and some of the early Harry Potters.
Sorry, I couldn't sit through all the Lord of the Rings back to back.
Oh, I only saw them once, and never again. They're too damn long. But I'm just saying, like, the story is good.
Well, Sometime I'll tell you the story about how a friend of mine made me watch Fellowship and the second one, Two Towers, back to back.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, as good as those movies are, I don't want to watch them back to back.
It might also, I guess, for us, it'd come down to a little bit of a taste, because all the Lord of the Rings movies are really good, but I couldn't sit through them. At the same time, if you told me to watch all the Marvel movies in one day, I could do that.
Mm.
And
there is a fan edit that's, I think, called Avengers Assembled, and it's basically all of the Phase 1 movies in chronological order.
So that would mean, like, Hulk takes place between Iron Man, or during Iron Man 2, probably?
Yeah, basically.
I still haven't watched Hulk.
The first part of it would be, like, presumably, like, just all of Captain America, aside from the, sort of bookends of modern day.
I guess I think what you would do is you'd get the opening of Thor first, when they're kids. Because that takes place during Viking culture, and then you jump ahead to Captain America in World War II. You finish that story, and then you go on to, I think, Iron Man. If Winter Soldier doesn't have flashbacks. So yeah, then you get to Iron Man. Then you get into Iron Man 2 and Hulk at the same time. And, well, Hulk at the same time as Iron Man, like, halfway through the movie. Then you get Thor, the second half of Thor. And then you'd get the uncovering of the ice from Steve Rogers. And then you'd get Avengers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a really vague timeline. I don't know, I think.
Mm.
And then there's also all those one-shots that could go at limitless directions.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. I haven't seen the thing because it's like 9 hours all edited together.
I could watch it, I just don't want to. That sounds confusing.
Well, Sid did all the movies back. Sid Part 2 did all the movies back to back. I don't know how he did it.
A lot of
he got the collection. He got the full collection.
Oh, that's.
I tell you what, it was hard watching all those Star Trek movies back to back.
Oh yeah.
No,
Star Trek's only good every other time.
Yeah.
Are you guys on the train?
Yeah, I'm on the train.
Okay. There's a scene where I kind of fanboyed a little bit on the train where Cap loses his shield, so Bucky grabs it, and for a split second, it's Bucky in a blue uniform with a gun and the shield, and I died because Bucky Cap is awesome. I don't know. I'm a real fanboy when it comes to Captain America. He's just got so much nostalgia for me. So that scene is awesome.
Oh, there it goes out the side of the train.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kill him!
Does this train scene feel a little bit video gamey to you guys?
Yeah, but I kind of like that.
It doesn't feel especially video gamey to me, because Steve and Bucky interact so much throughout it.
See you in the next movie!
I didn't get to the part where he fell yet. I just got to the part where he picked up the shit. When this movie came out on DVD, the first thing I did was I went frame by frame and got a screen cap of when he's holding the shield and the gun at the same time. Like, yes, this is what I paid for. And then 4 years later, I'm getting it.
I did something similar with 8 when he came back, and it was like one of those. I went through frame by frame to get a screenshot of the 8th Doctor. That was the first Doctor I saw. When I got QuickFlix, I watched the Doctor Who movie, the first one, the only one.
Am I one of the only people that doesn't hate that movie? I think it's actually kind of fun.
People hate it for the continuity errors in it. And
I could also see how the Doctor before him getting shot on a drive-by could be kind of...
Oh, God. After watching Remembrance of the Daleks, that's like... Oh... That's like horrible.
Yeah.
Makes him look stupid.
Yeah, I can understand that, but at the same time, I think the Eighth Doctor is hilarious. Like, he has that scene where he's just walking around, he's like, oh my god, I have shoes!
Mm.
I like when Tommy Lee Jones eats the guy's steak.
That's such a Tommy Lee Jones thing to do.
Mm.
I think if you ever went to a dinner party with Tommy Lee Jones, he would do that to you.
Probably. And then be like all those Bill Murray stories of like, they'll never believe you.
Most definitely. Tommy Lee Jones is such a good actor. I wish he was in more stuff. He was great in Lincoln.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen, what's that new one, Emperor, where he plays MacArthur? I've heard that's good, though.
He plays MacArthur? Really?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I don't know what movie that is, though. Have you guys seen
it's called
Frost
Emperor?
Emperor?
Mm-hmm.
I will have to Google that. Have you guys seen Watch Frost Nixon?
Oh!
Yeah. Is that good?
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very good.
I've been trying to like read up on later 20th century history. I wanted to see if that movie was any good.
I want to watch. Like, that made me want to watch the interview that he did.
Oh, those interviews are insane.
Like, it. Granted, the actual interview is not. It's not that. You don't get that epic moment that Frost got in Frost Nixon, but it's really.
I can understand that. Like, the interviews are really understated compared to what I assume the movie spectralized.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
As far as just like watching political interviews, those are some of the most interesting because they're so filled with tension.
Now, would you guys follow a guy with like a red face like that?
It's Hugo Weaving, man.
Yeah. I guess aside from it being Hugo Weaving, the Hydra soldiers talk about Johann Schmidt as if he's God and they worship him, and there's so many lines about how they completely understand how he is the superior person. So I can buy that they worship him, that they follow him so loyally.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it needs to be explained, but if it ever was, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Hmm. That salute is so stupid.
I love the salute.
And you see all those soldiers there. I seriously doubt that in that one battle they wiped out all of Hydra.
Oh no.
I would like it. I'd like it if they were like, Hydra has been alive this whole time and just rebuilding their forces, and
oh, they probably
they've
are.
secretly been doing all this stuff behind the scenes.
I think we'll see that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, was it me?
Yeah,
Oh.
you.
Okay, sorry. I was just gonna say Tommy Lee Jones' line later on where he shoots a Hydra agent and he says, "Let's go find two more." That was hilarious.
Like, if they don't bring Red Skull back, I just want them to have like pictures of him around Hydra bases. I think would work, and like.
From what I know of the comics, isn't Red Skull more affiliated with AIM?
I don't know. I don't read.
Not that I know of. I thought it was Hydra.
Yeah.
Okay, because like Ed Brubaker's run mentions how he has like a defunct section of AIM called AID, Advanced Ideas and Destruction. Because AIM has the funniest acronyms ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I hope we get to see like regular AIM with like the guys in the beekeeper suits and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's like one of my favorite visual motifs in Marvel Comics.
I don't put it past him after a couple more episodes of S.H.I.E.L.D. or maybe a couple more movies.
Yeah, because like Killian's dead, but that wouldn't necessarily shut down their think tank.
No, isn't there like...
Yeah, exactly.
I guess if you want to have a successful villain in your movies, you hire someone that's worked in Australia a lot. You hire Hugo Weaving, and then you hire, what's his name? Guy Pearce. He's awesome as a villain. When I saw Iron Man 3 was going to have him as a villain, I was like, yep, that'll work. I sort of watch that again because I feel like I should give that movie another chance.
You should.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing.
That's the thing I'm really discovering with writing this review on it is it's way better than I thought.
For Superhero Enthusiast review, stay tuned until next year when it finally comes out.
No kidding.
It is the most comprehensive review ever.
Yeah.
You sent me that 40%, and I'm wondering, is that really 40%?
I think it's more like 20 or 30.
Dude, it was like 3 hours long.
You should just do like a Superhero Enthusiast mini-series. Couple hours every week.
Yeah, reviews that are longer than the movies themselves. But this motorcycle scene is so cool.
Oh yeah, I love the gadgets.
It's never explained how the shield just comes back to him.
It's physics, man. The angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection.
Bucky, when he becomes Captain America, makes a really big deal out of how he has to memorize every single angle that he can possibly throw the shield in. That like Steve did. Because apparently Steve Rogers is a master of geometry and physics.
You know, like Pythagoras was on to something.
I completely forgot about that hidden text where he's describing how to throw circular objects.
Those Greeks and their geometry.
And the school had me talking about triangles. I could have been Captain America.
Well, you know, he knows it because the school system was so much better back then, right? They actually taught you that stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't how do you feel about the numbers?
Well, I feel like 3 is the loneliest number. Because it's always the third wheel.
True.
Being the third wheel is not fun.
Unless it's a threesome.
I love this. Again, to get back to the movie, I love this scene that we're about to get with the Red Skull and Steve talking. Yeah, I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I love that. Because that's exactly what makes him and Skull so different. That's fantastic.
Shouldn't have put the window there, man. I told you not to put the window there. See, they just stormed our base.
And again, they don't have bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
Or everyone just has super soldier feet.
But only their feet.
Yeah.
Only their feet, exactly. There wasn't enough in the budget. I would love to be on the special effects team, because every time you look at the Red Skull after his mask, your only job in the CGI department would be to erase the tip of his nose.
Yeah.
There must have been so many got your nose jokes in that editing room.
Oh, man. I bet.
I just couldn't resist the pun if I was in that room.
Got your nose, got your nose, got your nose, got your nose, got your nose. Dude, that's getting
Everything
really annoying.
It's not my fault Hugo Weaving has to breathe through his nose.
No, see, Hugo Weaving is so awesome that he doesn't have to.
Hugo Weaving doesn't have
He's
to breathe.
like
Just
that.
ask Agent Smith.
No, see, that's not a CGI effect. He actually just continuously painted his face red for the scenes.
Painted?
He
He just
actually
ripped it off.
invented the super soldier serum and
And
took
he
it.
actually went to the 40s and...
I would love to see Ben Kingsley's Mandarin personality carry a conversation on with the Red Skull.
No.
That would be hilarious.
Did you see Hail to the King yet?
I have not. I didn't buy Thor: The Dark World on DVD.
Oh my god.
I've got to get it on Blu-ray to get that.
Or Blu-ray. I buy Blu-rays, but I say DVD.
Yeah, I've got to get it on Blu-ray just to see that. Because out here, it's like the only way you can see those.
You can get it on iTunes. It came out on iTunes like a month before.
Yeah.
The Thor.
I watched it. Oh, well, I watched it and I'm like, ooh.
What bugs me about that Hail to the King thing, though, is when the Iron Man 3 came around, everyone was just moaning and complaining about how they changed the character. And then they go back on it because all the fans complained, and they're like, oh, you just lost your artistic license, what's wrong with you?
Well, that's more a problem with the fans.
Exactly. I hate that about the fans. Like,
yeah,
what's it called? There's this page on Twitter that does nothing but insult Marvel no matter what. Like, they just constantly go back on whatever they're doing. Marvel could say A and they'll say B, and then Marvel could say B and they'll say A. It's really annoying.
So it sounds like the Republicans with the Democrats.
Pretty much. Comic book fans after the Avengers and Dark Knight Rises have just gotten really irritating because they feel like it has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Because I don't like Dark Knight Rises, but they're both two completely different things.
I love Rises.
I do too.
You're...
I'm outnumbered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get my shield.
Yeah, you I guarantee if you listen to our commentary, it'll debunk most of the arguments that were made in those. Most of the key arguments that were brought up against that movie kind of debunked
Probably
them.
so. My whole problem with that movie was always kind of it tried to do way too many things that it didn't do any one thing spectacularly.
It definitely needed more time. It needed to be a longer movie. Even just 15 minutes would have done a lot.
It would have.
They kissed. They had their first kiss.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love Tommy Lee Jones there too. I'm not going to kiss you.
I wasn't asking, man. Man, this movie has gone by so quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can't believe it's already over. I mean, almost over.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I really do like
it.
And this is not a short movie, really.
No, it's a full 2 hours.
It's exactly 2 hours, and this DVD box is confusing. It's 2 hours and 3 minutes. Apparently, Winter Soldier is about 2 hours and 17 minutes. It's one of the longest Marvel movies they've made.
It's probably good because from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to need to be.
Yeah.
Well,
I always say make the movie as long as it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly. You could do just as much with a 3-hour movie as you can with like a 10-minute short on YouTube. Yeah. But you just have to know how to use your time and space.
Mm-hmm. I like that the plane at the end here is like a big giant wing because the Germans actually like pioneered that.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. I think my biggest complaints with this movie come at this moment of what's with the plane. Because one of the biggest things is, how did Howard Stark not find it?
Yeah, good question.
Because
he crashed. Does he crash it in somewhere in Canada and?
Well, see, here's the thing. What they set up with this is Steve says I got to put it in the water, and they said and Haley Atwell says we'll find you a different landing spot, and he says it's going too fast. The problem with that is if he has enough control to pull it into the water, then how does he not have enough time to just turn it around the other way? And on top of that, they know where the plane is coming from, and they know that it's heading to New York. So how in between that range could they not know where it landed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, but you gotta remember too, like positioning then wasn't as accurate as it is now. It took them forever to find where the
Titanic
went. Well, no, the Titanic, like that was like 30 years before, but they took them forever to find out where the Bismarck went down, and like the ships were all right there, and there was this huge area where it went down here. No, it went down here. It turns out it was like it was somewhere in the middle of this crazy place.
Well, they didn't find the Titanic until like the 80s, so.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess I can give you that. But
the ocean's a big place.
Yeah.
But also, they've got so much heightened technology in this universe, you know?
Mm-hmm. They did find a Tesseract, though.
Exactly. They found the Tesseract, but they didn't find that.
Well, I gather the Tesseract was easier to find than God knows how long it took them to have a search party assemble. I'm serious. Like, how, like, you really think it was just that one ship looking for Captain America?
No, that's all
a symbol of hope?
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a huge coordinated search effort. Howard Stark was there personally. They found the Tesseract. They knew the exact flight path. I don't know. It doesn't ring right with me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then how did Steve Rogers end up at, like, the North Pole?
Was it the North Pole, the opening?
No, I always assumed it was somewhere in, like, Upper Canada that he crashed.
And there's also...
Or Greenland.
Also drift.
Well, but things drift towards the equator, though.
That's true.
So I'm confused because when they show the flight plan, it looks like he is flying across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they say he crashes in the Atlantic.
Yeah, wouldn't it... I'm trying to think, like... Because the way that the Russians would have all, like, launched their nukes would have been over the North Pole. And wouldn't that have been, like, a faster way? Or, like... Yeah.
So, maybe what it is the plane is not going with the flight plan because they are fighting and it is changing directions.
Okay, that's maybe fair.
Okay, maybe that's...
Well, I just have to ask this. Sorry to interrupt, guys, but this is a key point. Red Skull disappears. Where does he go? Does he die?
I don't think he's dead because that effect is so obviously from Thor and the Bifrost. So it has to mean something.
Yeah. Although Hugo Weaving has no plans apparently to come back, but that could be just a...
Well, I've been saying that Robert Redford is Red Skull.
It looked to me there like he was flying over the North Pole.
Yeah, like again, it is changing multiple directions. It could really go in anywhere at that point, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess to your point earlier or just a minute ago about Robert Redford, the Winter Soldier story arc opens with the Red Skull dying, and then you discovering that he's just in someone else's head. So they could really easily do that.
Well, see, I have a whole fan theory about the Avengers in that, Loki went flying off into space somewhere too. I just saw the map and it looked like maybe they were flying over the North Pole. So
yeah,
okay. So they just changed direction really fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, my big fan theory is that Loki's whole plan in the Avengers was to deliberately get caught, so that he could get back to Asgard, because that's what he wanted. And I mean, it explains some of the stupider things that he does in the movie too. But I kind of figure like maybe he got, maybe he like hooked up with Red Skull out there. They found each other somehow. Red Skull is obviously a dude who sort of worships these old kind of Norse things, like as we sort of saw at the beginning. So, maybe they made some type of deal.
And it could also tie in a little bit to Thanos. Like maybe the reason he went back is because if he's pretending to be King of Asgard by the end of Thor: The Dark World, he has a better chance to be in a position to both know things Thanos might need to know and possibly overthrow him because Thanos is so much more powerful than him.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be it. I guess we'll have to wait and see after Phase 3 because that's when Thanos will show up.
Okay, so he's about to crash, but it's clear that Steve Rogers was a soldier; he wasn't a pilot. So again, I'm pointing out like.
Well, he's got a photographic memory, and he's kind of like a jack of all trades character type. So that's not really a problem for me.
Okay, so I'm just trying to point out possible theories here. It's just to me, it just.
I'm sure they could get a pilot on the radio and say, "Press this button."
And you got to remember, he just had a full-on brawl with Red Skull in there, and it looked like they damaged some equipment inside. That's the only justification for why he can't turn the plane around or anything like that.
Possibly so. I'll tell you this much though: Chris Evans plays it really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely buy it despite any of the lingering plot problems. And so does Haley Atwell. She does a great job.
Yeah. Even Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh,
and there's the end of the war, flying over Britain.
Yeah, I would assume with the way the film ended right after this, I think this really is the final battle of the war. So maybe he did go through all the campaigns. Or maybe he wasn't so much on the war front as much as he was just tracking down Hydra like he was throughout the film.
Yeah.
That's possible.
It would definitely be a really different interpretation of Captain America if they just make him a Hydra hunter.
Well, the Nazis aren't even really in this. It's all Hydra.
They're not. Yeah.
I think that's a problem to me too. I guess they didn't want to do anything just in case it might offend the German audiences, but...
Well, I mean, they show Nazis in the movie, so they're not afraid so much of that. I assume it might just be because it's more interesting to have Cap fight Hydra than it is the Nazis. Because really, what could the Nazis have in this time zone and make it interesting? Hydra, you can just make stuff up. With the Nazis, it would almost seem kind of unfair. Why would you want a super soldier?
Well, you can tie it in with the Tesseract and all this other stuff to help build the universe if you use Hydra.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they show Nazis. There's those 3 guys that Red Skull kills, and Red Skull has a Nazi uniform, and they show swastikas in the movie. I don't feel like they're shying away from it so much as they just don't care to use them.
I wish that this last scene, instead of having run into Times Square, they had him make it all the way to Liberty Island.
Probably S.H.I.E.L.D. has a base that's right on Times Square, so I think Liberty Island might make more sense.
I know in the Marvel Universe somebody does have a base in the Statue of Liberty.
Seriously? That'd be the coolest spot for a base, especially because everyone in the Marvel Universe lives in New York.
To me, that makes no sense.
Oh, totally not. But they're starting to move, so...
But but it's just cool. It's rule of cool factor. I guess one thing that we didn't talk about, though, was how they portrayed New York in the earlier stuff here. And they did, we saw old New York, what New York used to be.
I thought they did a fantastic job with that, especially considering they just dressed up London.
Mm-hmm.
It really does look like 1940s New York. And it even has the atmosphere just right, the way the dark alley is all day, and the way the theater has that kind of old-fashioned, furnished, more comfortable chair kind of look. All the streets are kind of not dirty necessarily, but they have that really kind of run-down quality.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like
really,
they got out of the Depression.
They couldn't find a game from 45. Really? That's another thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Just to quickly rewind, really, I love that the last shot that we get of Steve in the 1940s is a picture of him before the super soldier serum.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, like thematically, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
But yeah, the radio game thing is kind of dumb.
Oh, Dodgers, why did you move to the other side of the country? That's probably something he would be peeved about.
I would love to see.
I still say he should have run more. I really want to see that statue on Liberty Island. It's
a live action version.
The thing I loved about Avengers as Mightiest Heroes is like Cap was a legend in the Marvel world, and
he's escaping the movie set. The actor is on the loose. Stop him.
I don't care how much. I don't care how they do it. I want, like, next movie, I want to see a memorial statue of Captain America on Liberty Island.
They might even go in and do that. It doesn't sound that hard.
Okay.
Did you guys ever listen to the full version of Nick Fury's speech at the end of this movie?
Maybe.
Okay, because they cut like the middle chunk out, and Nick Fury actually for a few minutes just talks about why the world still needs Captain America and that Steve just needs to calm down and understand what's going on. It kind of spells out a little bit of the themes in the movie, but it was actually it created a good sense of closure, because without it, it just feels like he gets to New York. It's like, oh, okay, I kind of missed my date.
That's...
Like, there's a whole conversation in between that just gets cut.
I can see why it gets cut. It's when you're an editor, you like go, do we really need this? No, let's just cut it out.
I kind of feel like you do need it though, because it really does. Chris Evans has those great facial expressions in the scene where he transitions from being kind of hysterical to being kind of accepting.
And yeah, okay.
I love this credits sequence.
Yeah.
Oh,
so like all the old posters and stuff.
Oh yeah.
We're weaving.
Are we going to talk through the Avengers teaser trailer at the end of the credits?
Yeah, well, yeah, let's do that, because that was the next thing, wasn't it?
Yes, the very next thing was Avengers.
Still no Australian flag on any of those missiles. That ticks me off.
I guess I just have like a really fun story here, but when I first saw this in theaters, me and my sister were waiting at the end of credits for the theater, and we were the only persons in the theater except for an old man. And when we got out of the theater, it was like this 80-year-old guy, and he was just talking to us saying how he thought he would die long before he got to see something like this.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. He was talking about how he grew up on like Captain America comics and how his dad was in the war and how he loved the Avengers, and he was kind of tearing up at the teaser trailer. It was really kind of touching.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's weird though that we see this all before we see. Because I gather people thought they'd see a Justice League movie before they thought they would see a Avengers movie.
Most definitely. The fact that they made an Avengers movie and they started it with Iron Man was probably completely unacceptable like 10 years before.
Well, even kind of in retrospect, like, it's weird that they were able to do this is so weird.
And the fact that Justice League is still not off the ground, like I didn't think there'd be any way to like not make a movie with Batman and Superman before the Avengers, but somehow we'll have two Avengers movies before Batman and Superman are on the same screen.
I still say we need at least one film from Flash and Wonder Woman before.
I just want to see a female superhero get her own movie, and it be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like people say, oh, well, female superheroes, like, it's not going to work because look, Supergirl and Catwoman, and it's like, but those movies failed because they were shitty movies, not because they had female leads in them.
Yeah, exactly. They were shittily written movies. I've seen Supergirl.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
Green
Catwoman.
Lantern failed too, and it was not a good movie. And they'd had a guy with a dick.
I really don't. I really don't think it was as bad as people make it. I mean, people make it out to be as bad as Catwoman and Supergirl. It's not.
No, it's
really
not.
isn't.
But
No, yeah. It's nowhere near that bad.
No.
It's a Daredevil theatrical cut bad.
Yeah, I'd say it's about that bad.
it does feel like it's one of those movies from like the early 2000s.
Mm.
Before they really got what a superhero movie was supposed to be.
Before Batman Begins came out.
Yeah.
I think they always do the first movie wrong. Look, Batman '89 is not very true to the actual Batman character, but when Begins came out, it was really loyal to the character. So I imagine if we get another Green Lantern movie, it will be much better.
Maybe so. I don't even think necessarily that Batman Begins was so much that it was loyal to the character as much as it was a story first and like fan service or character loyalty later. Like it was really just a bunch of guys who wanted to tell a really good story about a really interesting character, and it just happened to be Batman.
I still think we could get a good Green Lantern movie.
I just think I mean, Green Lantern as a franchise, like, there's enormous potential there and a built-in thing where you can replace actors at any point because there are multiple Green Lanterns. Like, it should sell itself, but, like, I don't know. I guess you don't have to work very hard to screw it up.
Well, I guess the problem is with DC as a whole is just that they don't want to take risks of any kind. Like, their movies are always Batman, Superman, but it's not just that they're Batman, Superman. It's that they're one singular tone that they don't want to escape just because a couple movies did well. Yeah,
and that's the problem with Man of Steel. It shouldn't have been like that. You look at the Marvel movies. Each one is different. Thor is very different to Captain America.
And they came
Captain
out in the
America. Yeah, and Captain America is very different from the Iron Man movies. So you can have different tones for your movies, like, and
I just sort of feel,
especially more in DC, it makes much more sense for them to be more different toned.
Yeah, because they all started as separate universes. With Marvel, I guess it's a little bit easier because their characters were always intended to be in the same world.
Mm-hmm, more or less. I just kind of feel now like DC doesn't get its own characters anymore. Like, even in the comics, totally. It's just like, I don't know. They've always kind of had this, we wish we were as cool as Marvel thing, like ever since the 60s. But like they've still managed to do amazing things that look like DC in the tone of those characters. But it's like New 52 feels like 90s Wildstorm. Like, I don't even feel like I'm reading DC comics when I pick up DC comics. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like, because I started reading some Heroes Reborn stuff, it kind of feels a little bit like that, where they felt like they need to change to just letting the characters evolve by themselves. They cut off so many good storylines just in a kind of a cheesy way to get new readership and to make themselves look edgy, but it just doesn't work. And Marvel learned how to get away from that really quickly. Marvel always had this reputation of stealing ideas. And yeah, it's true. Every time someone does something that's popular, Marvel will copy it and just make it better. But that's the thing, is that they make it better. Like, Marvel now is so much better than New 52 because they understood what was wrong with New 52. And now DC is getting to this point where the moment they have a success on their hands, they don't want to let it go. With Marvel, no matter how good no matter how much money the Avengers makes, Iron Man 3 was still its own story from its own creators who wanted to do their own thing, and they let them have it. The Punisher has 3 movies, and they're still trying, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Marvel's sort of like the Apple, I guess, then, of comic book companies. Because, like, Apple didn't invent the MP3 player, but they did invent the iPod, which was 1,000,000 times better, and they marketed it 1,000,000 times better than anything else that was out there. Apple didn't invent the smartphone, but they came in after the fact and like came out with something that was 1,000,000 times better than any other smartphone that you could buy.
About to hit the Avengers trailer, so I paused.
Oh, I love that trailer. And I think also because we were getting to this Avengers part, Marvel movies know exactly what they want to be. Like no one came out of the woodwork and said the Avengers is the deepest, most interesting, fascinating film ever. It's not. It's everyone wanted to see these characters on the same screen together, having fun with lots of action, and it was exactly that.
Yeah.
With like Man of Steel, it's they had to keep preaching what this character means and what they have to do. We don't need that. We just need what makes this character endearing and what we wanted to see to begin with. You don't have to give me this great, grandiose, like, Greek epic every time you make a movie.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's like, show, don't tell.
Exactly.
And that movie is all about telling and not showing. Because, and kind of the opposite, too, is like, they'll say one thing, and then the character does, like, the complete opposite. And it's like, do you not understand what the movie you made was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And despite
I like kind of good bonding, like Captain America will return in the Avengers.
Oh, I love that too. Yeah. Did they do that in Thor: The Dark World? Thor will return.
I don't know.
I think they did because it did in Iron Man 3. I think.
Iron Man will return in Avengers: Age of Ultron or whatever.
Well, they didn't say Age of Ultron. I think they just said Iron Man will return.
Cool trailer.
I do love that trailer, yeah.
Some similarly, like, it's clear they were still filming when they did this. But
I love how the very first production shot of the Avengers was just a bunch of, like, studio chairs with the characters' names on it instead of the actors. It was hilarious.
How weird is it that, like, we are living in a world where we got this... Not only did we get an Avengers movie, we got an Avengers movie that was basically constructed of, like, second-tier characters, and we got that before Justice League, you know, and Joss Whedon directed it. Like,
yeah,
we're living in this
they got the right person.
perfect,
see,
like, nerd world.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. On one of your things is Bruce Timm should be in charge of the DC movie universe. It's not someone who knows how these characters should work on a screen. I don't care that he's only done really the animated universe. I think he could really handle that.
And then I guess the thing also really cool about Marvel is Jon Favreau wanted to make Captain America, but he came to them with a pitch as a comedy. Marvel got the guy who made The Rocketeer for Captain America. Marvel got the guy who does great with ensemble casts for the Avengers. What's his name? Shane Black and Jon Favreau are two completely different directors. Like, Marvel's not afraid to just reach outside of a comfort zone. They don't all have to fit into one kind of singular vision, whereas DC, everything has to be Chris Nolan at this point. And even Chris Nolan doesn't like it.
Yeah. Okay. We're at the end of the film. We've watched the Avengers trailer, and we've talked about the movie and various other things during this commentary. It's time to announce what we're doing next. Well, Steve, sorry you won't be able to join us for the next one.
Dang.
Because I'm sorry, but we got a special guest for the next one.
Oh.
But I'm not going to reveal who that will be because it's a surprise. Alex, you'll be joining me because this is all to do with next month's Aussie and Canuck podcast. Not this month's, because Alex kind of chose that one.
It was my turn.
Yeah, it was your turn, but I kind of like pointed you a direction to go in. But next month we will be doing The Man from Snow River, and Alex will be joining me, and a very special guest. I can't wait for that person to join me. So, thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully you stay tuned to the end, because otherwise you won't know what's coming up next. Steve, I hope you can join us for something else later on. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you, Alex, for all your work on this as well. And thank me for having this.
Thank you, Magpie.
Thank me. Thank you, Magpie.
All right. Goodbye, good luck, and good night.